Right, on today's video we're going to look at the Interceptor TC-300. Now if you've been watching the channel, you'll see that I picked up 3 of these on eBay recently, and we're going to quickly have a look at this one and tune it up. It was actually pretty good out of the box, but we're going to give it a quick tune up. I'm just going to show you a few things to watch for if you do buy radios from eBay, as I found something with this one which will amuse you. Right, like I say, a lot of us buy radios from eBay, and I'm always moaning that they very often don't come with power leads. Now sometimes that's actually not a bad thing, and this is a good case and example. Now when you buy these and they do come with a power lead, always check the actual connections. So swizzle the plug apart and check and make sure that this connector is good. Very often you'll find when these go, people just literally stuff the wire in there and a cable tie or something, and it makes a terrible connection. And they often do the same at this end, but as we can see on these two, these are good. Now if they're not good, just use a bit of emery cloth or even just a flat blade and just scrape these clean so they make a good contact, because sometimes something as simple as that can be all that's wrong. But the reason I wanted to show you this was this fuse. Now I don't know if you can see how big that fuse link is from here. The person has put in a 20 amp fuse in this cable. Now if you were to look at the rating of this cable, it's very thin. In American terms, AWG 14, probably a bit more. In UK terms, probably less than 1mm CSA. I would think probably 0.5 or 0.75 maximum. So this would probably carry a good current of about 5 amps before it got warm, but certainly this would catch fire before that fuse blew at 20 amps. So really please, if you are buying these, check the fuse and do not replace it with a nail. Now what I like about the Interceptor is that it's such an unusual looking design. With these signal lights on the side of it, and there's another radio, although it doesn't have the lights there, that I also love for that reason, and it's a terrible CB really, it's not the best. Well, that's the Harvard Good Buddy. Also goes under a couple of different names this, but I always love the fact that the Harvard Good Buddy had the meter in the vertical position. Again, something really unusual that you just don't see. And these very rarely come up actually, or good ones anyway, on eBay, and I think just this fact alone it's worth buying it, because it's just so unusual. And that's what I do like, and anything that's a little bit different, and the Interceptors are certainly a little bit different. So let's power this one on, and we'll give it a quick tune up. I'm not going to go too in depth with this, because other folks such as Richard have already done videos on these, but I did promise the viewers that I would show this being tuned, so I'm going to do just that. So I appreciate if some of these tune-up videos aren't to everyone's taste, but some people like them, some people don't like them, and if you don't like them, wait for the next video. Right, let's crack on. Okay, now we've got the Interceptor powered on, and this one we've actually got the original factory microphone that's come with this one, which is nice. We'll pop it onto channel number 20, get the balance right, and then we'll key up and see what we're doing. So we're doing just a shade over 3 watts. 3 watts roughly. We've got all of our lights lit up there at the side. So let's quickly see what it's doing on receive. Right, we're currently doing 12 decibel cyanide at 0.68 of a microvolt. And somebody did ask the question whether the volume on the CB makes a difference to the dB reading on the meter here, and no, it doesn't. The cyanide here has an automatic gain control built into it, so me turning the volume up and down won't affect the cyanide reading. Well, we should be able to make some significant improvement to this radio, so let's take it all apart and see what we can do. Right, so that's a first. Now removing the lid, there is I imagine this is factory fitted, a little piece of red cardboard to protect the board. I mean, I wouldn't know why anyone would have done that themselves, and the board definitely looks like it's not had any tampering of any kind, and could be wrong about that, but it looks pretty good from here. So that's the first time I've seen that before, unusual. Right, over to the business side of the radio to see what lies under here. Aha. Okay, tiny little bit of corrosion on the speaker brackets. That's unusual. Don't normally see that unless it's something else. It may just be some glue that's gone bad. Anyway, let's have a little poke around. Okay, looking inside here, it's looking pretty clean. I mean, the telltale signs are normally the capacitors, as everyone probably knows, and I can't see any signs of any capacitors going bad in there, which you can physically normally see by the receding plastic around the top of the cap, or if they're bulging up, or if there's any indeed liquid or internals of the capacitor coming out of the bottom. Sometimes you might see on capacitors that, and it can sometimes be glue, so don't be confused by that. Sometimes you'll see like wax or glue or some other kind of adhesive sealant which they use to stop the capacitors from moving around. But I think that looks pretty tidy. I don't think anyone's been in there. I think I'm probably the first man to come in here. Something I will show you, which is a bit unusual, which I've just spotted, is that trimmer capacitor on the output there to the antenna socket. I've not seen that before. I'll have a dig around, see if I can find a circuit diagram, but I think it should be fairly self-evident what all of these things are. So we'll start with trying to squeeze a bit more power out of this. Right, for transmit power, the only section we're interested in is the trimmers in this section here. This will be a 54 meg trap on the outskirts of these cans here, and these are all wax filled, so I'm going to melt them with the soldering iron. I'm currently doing 3 watts. I'm not going to show this in the interest of time, and then we'll come back and see if we've managed to get any more. Well, not a lot was gained really, about half a watt. So we're doing 3.5 watts there on the SP15, and then some other sad news. My soldering iron seems to have died on me. I mean, those of you that have paid any attention may have noticed that I use it and have used since I was 16 years old this particular Weller TCP soldering iron, and it's finally died. And without giving my age away exactly, well, I've been using this for well over 30 years, and the actual element has actually gone open circuit now. I have repaired it in the past. This little thermostatic switch can go, and you can untape them and fix them there, but unfortunately it's died. And to get new ones, it's not an insignificant cost. In fact, a new iron replacement, just the iron bit, not the transformer, is £100 from Farnell for a new iron. So yeah, we shall see. So anyway, we can move along without the soldering iron for now, but I need to break out my standby iron, which is not quite as good. Goodness me, it's no wonder nobody was using this CB and it was in such good condition. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Look at that. Look at the deviation. Let's have a look at that on the spectrum analyzer, or SDR, whatever you want to call it. 1, 2, 1. Look at that. Oh dear. Hopefully we can bring that up a little bit. Let's just try. You can see there's modulation lights on this one as well. So on the signal meter, you get your modulation when you're talking there, and the maximum that we can tweak out of it using that potentiometer down there is about 2 kilohertz with the tone, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. Yeah, maximum of about 2.1. So not great, but certainly good enough for jazz. And while I was in there, I also adjusted the transmit power LEDs as well. A little bit. You know, these are not a calibrated thing, these, but people always like to see all the lights come on, and if I ever do sell this on eBay, I don't want someone coming back saying, "No, the lights aren't working." So it's just easier to tweak it up. So there you go. The low power setting, the low power switch on here, is not adjustable, and when I switch that, it goes down to 1 watt, not the regulated 0.4 watts, what it should be, but it's not adjustable, so it is what it is. But like I said before, who runs the radios in low power that often anyway, although it is a useful feature. Right, for the receive side of this, we've got number 1, number 2, number 3 and number 4. I haven't checked, but I imagine that's the FM detector, which we'll do on the oscilloscope. So I think we were doing 0.6, weren't we, for 12 decibel cyanide. So we'll switch on the signal generator and we'll see if we can get it lower than that. Again, I'm not going to show you the tuning steps in the interest of time and speed. We'll come straight back to see what we can drop this down to. See what we've got for receive now. We've dropped it another 0.2. So for 12 decibel cyanide, we're now doing 0.48 of a microvolt. So that's pretty good. That's pretty decent. You know, there's not many new sets that will be that good, and we can probably hear it down much less. Let's just turn the volume up a bit, and then we'll turn the level down. That's 0.21. You can still hear that quite clearly at 0.21 of a microvolt. Down. That's 0.1, and you can still hear it. I'll turn the tone on and off. You can still hear it there. So it's not always about the signal to noise. It's just a factor of how noisy the components are, and you know, the quality of the components in the radio very often. Okay, what were we doing? Squelch. We're setting S9 signal 100 microvolts on the signal generator, and we've just adjusted the detector for peak audio, and as I suspected, that was the FM detector adjustment there. And with a 100 microvolt signal on the radio, we've got a full set of lights there. This is not adjustable, and so that is what you get. And so that just leaves the squelch to do, and I think then we're done with this. Pretty decent, I think. I mean, I've got another 2 more of these to do because I bought 3, and I have to say I'm quite liking it. Not the most powerful radio in the world or mind-blowing, but certainly an unusual one. The squelch is a real fiddle to adjust. It comes in at 0.3 and leaves at 0.1 of a microvolt, and at the high end it's almost impossible to get it to work correctly at the high end. So what I've done is a bit of a compromise and set it so at the absolute top it'll pretty much not open no matter what you throw at it, but if you back it off just a little bit, you've got your 100 microvolts, and that's all you can do. There literally isn't anything else you can do, and that's down to design. It can sometimes be down to component failure, but that's certainly, I think, design. Well, we'll find out when we test the other 2 anyway, but I don't know why there's a number 8 in the middle of this one. I don't know what that's significant for, but I think that's it. I think this kind of wraps it up. So yeah, it's certainly a really interesting set, this one, and this one's in pretty darn good condition. So we'll throw the covers on it and we'll have a quick natter with Mick and see what he thinks. Right, on this radio we've got basic controls: volume, squelch and RF gain. And I get a bit of noise here from the antenna in the loft, so you can see there with the RF gain whacked up. That's the kind of noise floor that I'm looking at here. Unfortunately, it's just a downside of living in a built-up area around lots of modern new houses, and that is unfortunate. But you can actually often back the RF gain down a little bit if you're with someone close, and that does really help. So RF gain is very useful for that. So we'll get Mick on frequency, and we're running. I haven't got my soldering iron to put the speaker on, so we're running on the external speaker for now, which I don't normally do, but it should be good enough for this test. And I must dig out my soldering iron or buy another one. So yes, that was unfortunate. Never mind. Right, we got Mick on there. I wonder how you're copying me there, Mick. I'm just testing the Interceptor TC-300, having given it a bit of an alignment. I'm wondering what I sound like there, Rog.
Yeah, okay, Paul. All copied and understood. You're on the Interceptor 300, as it said. Yes, you did say. But your audio is exceptionally clear, very good. As normal from you on any other rig, so I wouldn't know which one you were on if you didn't tell me. So, but no, it's good audio and a nice strong signal as well. Back to you, Paul.
Okay, affirmative. Yeah, so this has got a modulation meter. If I really if I really put it up there, it does peak, but it doesn't always go. It's a bit odd, it's a bit intermittent, but it's certainly a unique feature of this radio. Anyway, the deviation was a little bit low on this, but all I tend to do when I know that on a radio is just talk a little bit louder, and that's easy for me.
Yeah, okay, Paul, all copied there. Well, you know what I'm on the Thunderbolt T-800, and yes, you're coming through very well, exceptionally well, so I would be pleased with that if I was to hear that on the other end somewhere. So, yeah, good radio, good audio, strong signal, and when you've done the wah-wah bit, that reminds me of days gone by when we used to do that on sideband, wasn't it? So, yes, it's very good, mate, very good indeed. And your signal did get a bit stronger when you've done that. Back to you, Paul.
Right, I hope you enjoyed that little look at the Interceptor TC-300. Certainly an unusual Korean-made radio from back in the day, from the early 80s. And so you don't see many of these pop up. And if you do see these come up and you fancy one for your collection, I can thoroughly recommend them. As you can see, they're nice audio, and but more importantly, an unusual styling and a fairly decent performer for the money as well. So with that, we'll move on to a new video next week. Hopefully get out and about next week and do some range testing with the President Randy. And we've also picked up another radio to play around with that as well, which you'll see on the videos then. So if you have been, thanks ever so much for watching. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch you on the next one.